So what twisted and spicy secrets are hiding in the H-binder? Find out after the title. Well, hello and welcome to the H-binder, or the hentai binder. Yeah, I wouldn't use the word hentai in my actual title, but I did. So I was doing some videos for my main channel, Trash with a capital T, on some two older, very soft hentai titles that I used to be able to find at like Sunko's Video. And in doing so, I ended up having to pull out this. This is the hentai binder. This is actually the new hentai binder. The old hentai binder recently got replaced because it was in very bad shape. It had like food stains on it. Not for me, but it was not doing well and it was overstuffed. So I decided to get a new binder, and this one is not full yet, but we might get there through this series. Because what I want to do on here is to go through this binder, watch these shows, and episode by episode break these shows down, recap them, review them, and go over everything that is good, bad, scarring, enlightening, shocking about them. Why? Because it's fun. Because I have plenty of memories with my friends watching these shows and joking about them and having a great time and becoming little weird nerd hentai fans. I grew up in a not super, my home life was not super conservative or restrictive, but if you've watched my other channel, you've heard me talk about this when I've done the Left Behind videos, but I grew up going to Christian grade schools and high school. And while I was actually in probably one of the more liberal examples of a Christian grade school or high school, the world of sexuality was quite restrictive, especially exposure to material that included discussion of or depiction of sexuality. So when I finally could get my hands on stuff that could not explain it, because I understood, but what was expressing sexuality that was outside of what I knew at the time, I was just drawn in. And that's kind of how my brain has always worked. Now, I tend to not be drawn to literary erotica because I just haven't run into any good ones. So if you got any recommendations for that, pop them in the comments. I'll try it out and probably talk about it on the other channel. I did find a lot of visual, namely animated erotica, that I found quite interesting. I didn't necessarily find it titillating. It wasn't anything that I was spending personal time through and had to watch in multiple sittings, if you get my drift. But it was stuff that was expressing sexuality and eroticism in ways that I had never considered, especially since some of these shows can get quite dark. So I want to be able to talk about these shows and talk about them a little more freely than I could on my main channel, because my main channel is pretty PG, and I don't expect this channel to get like overly explicit or gross, because that's just not how I want to talk about this stuff. And I definitely will not be featuring clips of nudity or sexual situations, mainly because I want my channel to actually survive. But I will be exploring these shows. One, how if I had something I had watched before or watched with friends, kind of the nostalgia part of it, but also like, how have these shows changed? Because I've got shows from the 80s all the way up to the 2000s, and I've looked up shows that are more recent. I am very out of the game when it comes to this stuff. I think the last time I really got into a hentai series was Bible Black. And around that time, things took a turn, and thanks to shows like Night Shift Nurses being extremely popular, shows started to get more extreme, and I just was not interested. But now I'm kind of curious, how have things evolved since then? What has become popular? What has changed? And I'll probably also check out a bunch of gay content too, because that's a little more my bag. So I'm going to put this down because this is heavy and it is resting on my arm, and my arm is starting to fall asleep. So that is kind of the purpose of this channel. And I'm not going to be doing full series reviews. I'm going to do episode by episode breakdowns. So I'll take a series and I will go through. And that's how those series were, most of them were originally released, at least in Japan. In America, we might have gotten 2 episodes at a time. But these were done, spaced out for the video market, and they were released one at a time. So I am going to try doing that. And I think it would be more fun to do deep dive recaps and reviews per episode so you can really dig into it, especially because some of these series have multiple artists or you see quality changes throughout the series. If there are dubs available, we will be talking about the dubs because you got to talk about hentai dubs. Some of them are quite magical, both sometimes good and sometimes not so good. Now, this does not mean I will not be continuing the Spicy Cells episodes on my main channel. The content that I'm going to do over there is probably going to be a little more tame stuff, or stuff that is the had general releases essentially in the 90s and the early 2000s. So that would probably be more of the early soft cell stuff, which is the stuff I really saw early on. Over here, I will probably talk about some of that stuff, but I also want to be able to talk about shows that I just don't think would work over there. Sorry for all the skin today. It's Sunday morning, and I felt compelled to film this and get this going and get this ready because this channel is something where I debated doing it at all, and I just couldn't get it out of my head. And I went through all these different ideas, and then suddenly I was like, just go through the binder. That's the channel. Just go through the damn binder. And maybe people will watch it, maybe they won't. It's interesting because Trash with a capital T, the stuff that gets the most views is my more adult content. When I talk about movies that are more spicy or adult. I think my most viewed video is my review of Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which is a Russ Meyer movie. I don't know if that's going to transfer over here. I highly doubt it will because this is definitely a more niche area concept, but I still want to do this because I think it will be fun. I'm not doing any of these channels for fame. I'm doing this because I just want to talk about this stuff and I want to interact with people who also want to talk about this stuff. So this is my little call to action before I end my getting to know you episode. In the comments, if you have any series that you specifically want me to look into or try and cover, let me know. If there is anything that you're curious about, let me know. I am always looking for titles. I have a bunch of old stuff, but there is stuff out there that I have no idea what people are into or liking now. So, keeping respectful and tasteful, or as tasteful as you can be, put them down in the comments. Now, don't think I'm going to be coming at this prudishly. I love some pretty insane stuff. Obviously, I have your Sugadoji back on my wall. I have Angel of Darkness, Divided. My friends and I, when we played the game, we called it Divided because of the way it's spelled, but it's supposed to be pronounced Divided. That's Eroge from the early 90s. There's some other stuff over there that's not that. Actually, let me see if I can point it correctly there. That is for a video game, a visual novel I created 12 years ago called Accidental Demon Slayers. It's still floating around on the internet if you ever want to try and find it. That is not... that the video game we made is not hentai. It does not include sexually explicit material. It is all ages, although it is quite mature, so maybe like 17 plus, I guess. I still use anime rating systems in my head for stuff, so yeah. So this is a little rambly, but that I knew it was going to be a little rambly. This is a getting to know you episode. It's an introduction episode. So just to give you an idea, I'm going to aim for Wednesday releases. I will try to do weekly. But it may end up being bi-weekly. It depends just on life. If life gets crazy, if I can get ahead like I have on Trash with capital T, it'll probably stay weekly. But if it changes, I will let you know. So new episodes will release Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Anything else I need to kind of bring up? I don't think so. I think that kind of covers everything. And like I said, I'm going to be covering content, both gay, straight, probably get some Yuri in there if I can find it. I mean, I'm not watching this stuff for the same reason that, like, if I'm watching it because I'm a weirdo who can sit down and watch this stuff and watch it like a movie or a TV show. And for some reason, my brain can remove the erotic element and view it as entertainment. I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy spicy content like every other grown adult, but that is not really the point here. The other thing is, I'm not going to be judgmental if you guys suggest certain shows. There are subjects I probably will not gear towards, but I'm fine with shock content. Like, obviously, I love stuff with like tentacles in it. I get a kick out of them because they use a lot of horror tropes and plots to build out their stories, and it has that very Roger Corman B-movie stuff, although it tends to push really hard past those boundaries. But I also love fluffy, goofy shows like Can Can Bunny Extra or Shin Angel, the Yujin show. So I grew up on my first exposure to this stuff was the Soft Cell General releases that you could get in Sam Goody or Suncoast Video. So this is going to be covering a wide range of topics. This is also a judgment-free zone when it comes to kinks and all of that fun stuff. There are a few subjects I do want to avoid completely, namely anything involving lolly or Shota characters. Definitely not my bag, and I'm really not comfortable viewing or talking about it. So we're probably going to be avoiding those shows. Just going to put that out there. For everything else, though, bring it on. I've played games from Clock Up. I have watched stuff that has probably turned my stomach a couple times. So, I don't have any real hard notes. So you're going to see a wide range of content on here. I actually think I'm debating on the first series that I'm going to cover. It is either going to be, I think it's either going to be Isaku, or I might go the complete light route and do something like Elven Bride, which is the English title that Softcell released it with. Because it's one that I've been hunting down for, and I finally found episodes. I don't think there's any legal copies that could be like bought. So my computer keeps shutting off. So it's going to be one of those two, or might be something completely different, but you will know next Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And just remember, when you're here, it is a no shame zone. You're going to love what you love anyways, so you might as well love it freely and happily. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.